Good morning, happy people. Lydia, what a timely message for me. Starting January this year, I'm delegating 50% of my work to my son. Wow. Well, praise God. Maybe that's a message for all of us. We all need that Jethro to visit us, right? If that's a timely message for you and you have a testimony, put it in the chat while we're joining today. All right, we got some special questions that we're going to be asking in the second half of today. We're going to do a recap on these 5 right here. And then I'm going to, recap is just going to be talking about some charts that we've done from the other day because our recording didn't go through. So let's talk about these recording and let's jump into it. So I'm going to show some of the images from this weekend and we will go right to it. Okay, here it is. Okay, this was a look at Wednesday, our picture from USDT.D. And on USDT.D, we have a local health. After this line, we remember that I'm teaching a very important new cut coming up within 2 weeks. Well, we only got 1 more week left, and I'm going to be announcing the day for a special session. I'm going to be teaching you guys a very, very powerful cut called the end cut. It is so cool. And I can't wait to teach you guys it. So we had our local health at 7.98. When this chart goes up, your cryptos come down. We were looking to hit the next end cut along the way, which is going to be somewhere up in this range. It's about the same as the old high. I drew it for you guys later in the session. This is another look at USDT.D. This is in white, the larger channel, the larger oscillation that we're moving. And I believe, according, not just on the data, but I believe that because of some dreams that I've been having, lots of them, I believe the market still should be going up. But a lot of the data suggests we're also going to be moving up as well, as I've been talking about over the last many, many months. A lot of weakness. USDT.D. When this chart goes up, cryptos come down. My big forecast is that we're still moving up in these ways, that the channel's still going to be active. If we come to low, there's a lot of supports underneath along the way, 7.1, 7.6, and we have some other areas closer to 6.8, but that's going to be a very big thing. We looked at crypto. This is going to be a combined report of USDT.D. I told you guys this the other day. This is just some screenshots we took from Wednesday. USDT.D plus USDC. These are the 2 stable coins and their dominance. And I was showing you guys a measurement of about where Bitcoin would fall. So when we combine those choices with Bitcoin, we're looking closer to 54 as a brief estimate. If USDT.D continues to its next resistance, I think we're getting there, 54 as a general estimate. But my real official estimate is actually 47,000 to 50,000. And below that, I have approximately 36,000. My strong belief is that Bitcoin should be going towards $47,000 to $50,000. So that's just, you guys need to know that we've talked about that for many months. That's my big support for Bitcoin. Okay, so back to USDT.D. This is the corner, this is the pocket I believe we're going to be getting towards. And we did some new end cuts. On USDT.D, I got some big ones. I got some all in these quadrants, but overall, I'm looking to get from about 13% to about 12% as a big, strong resistance. So above there, we may be even looking higher, but overall, this is a weekly chart. So this is a combine of the USDT and the USDC chart. So if you put the plus button after USDT.D plus USDC.D, you'll see that I'm looking closer to this pocket, this window. The numbers are on the board. 12.129, 13.11. Okay, remember when that chart goes up, your cryptos are going down. And this is a larger, longer view look at the USDT combined chart. And on this chart, you can see that above these pockets, we have a multi-touch flat that we can be looking at, and that's going to give us somewhere around 13-14%. And then I have some end cuts in the sky closer to 20 and 19. So if we do reject somewhere at the end of this run, I think we're going to be getting to the high 20s 21, 20, 21, 19. Here's the 1920. And then 21 is somewhere about right up there on that orange one. There's some resistances in those areas. So lots of room for us to play over the coming months with larger weaknesses in the sky as we're in these territories. So those are just going to be some numbers that I'll have on the board. Overall, this is a big danger area. We need to clear this area before really considering some very strong short positions. Right now, we have some room for some short positions, but don't be surprised if after we clear these areas, we build on top of here. This is just the big block where all these clusters of resistances are based on end cuts. So with the end cuts are beautiful because I can track multiple different oscillations and track to see where those resistances are. When I see them all grouping up together in a cluster, we can block it all off. And I just put a big danger sign. There, again, here's around 12.55 average. Once we are hitting here, we have a chance to come down. That may look like a bull. When this comes down, the markets will rebound and have a nice little bounce. I'm not looking to take that for bullish trades. I'm just really not. I'm waiting and only hunting for these down moves to continue. And I also believe that we're coming up to these areas. But that's what we talked about in this combined report, which is a new type of combined report. You may want to call that something like the Sixth Counselor from my ebook that was just released for free for everybody. It's a short mini ebook. All right. This is just a picture of this is a USTC, a different crypto called USTC. Not the dominance, just the USTC. I see professional selling. We're looking for this crypto to continue falling. So these are some of the images on the boards. I'm going to be looking to hit closer to 00397 and also 00174. That's where I believe we're going to be getting to. Another short may trigger underneath these areas, but you do have some support here. So you probably want to clear this support down there, and then you can take some shorts down there. That's going to be something that I might be interested in for USTC. The DP down here might be of great interest as well. Here's a report regarding those things, and you guys can take a look at that on the board if you like. Okay. I also included all these images on our website. Okay, we looked at APT. APT is a crypto I think we're going to be getting down to 0.74 cents. Current 70 and then 4, not 74 cents, but 704 cents. Current price at the time of the filming was $8.99. There was some end cut support along the bottom here. I didn't draw that until much later, but there's some supports, a little smaller supports there that is on that support here. Here's my report. I believe that we're actually going to be getting closer to that area right there based on our DP, and the DP just needs to finish completing itself. I'm going to be watching this flat and trying to collect the remaining amount. So I think this is going to be an easy short. Here's a quick look at APT today. So now we're getting into some of the more meaty stuff. All right, so here's APT today. Okay, I have a smaller end cut. The exact number is 86 to 85 cents. So this is going to be underneath here where it's going to trigger another short. One of the ways we can denote this is putting this words in the center and then just moving that to the side. But the resistance for today somewhere is going to be around 92 cents. Current price 89. I believe this is going to be a nice easy short that's going to be able to finish its DP for these coming days. We may get another 2 or 3 weeks before we hit them. It could happen also relatively quickly. This is a larger oscillation that encompasses most of the larger move, and the DP is going to be here. Okay, so we're almost there. Weakness, 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 and if we start building below 70 cents, that's also a weakness, although now these are coming together for a support vortex. So you can see we're still on top of those areas. So I would look to get a nice little bounce out of this pocket if possible. So I don't want to trade that past there. Just because we get a bounce, I'm not interested in reversing position. I taught about that the other day, the dangers of just reversing just because it is a support. You need to have a valid reason on why you trade the way you trade, whether it's strictly fundamental, whether it's strictly technical, whatever the reasons. I don't have to agree with all those reasons, but you need to have those reasons for why you approach the way that you trade. And hopefully your reasons aren't just, well, it's one of J-Song's supports. Yes, it may bounce, but we can get a very weak bounce and come back down while you're sleeping. We need to be you need to understand and know how to read and track the health coming into these things. What I'm going to be using this primarily is to exit shorts. So if I'm in a short, I use these supports to exit. Then once the risk is cleared, then I'll jump back and ride the short if the trend is still down, if the data is still indicating we should be going down. Okay, same as if we were in a bull market. If we were in a bull market and the prices were going up, you would use those to take profits. You wouldn't short on the way down here. You would wait till the risk clears, and then if you had another reason to trade, then you can take another position once the danger has been cleared. Okay, so that's how you might want to approach that as well. So again, there's a lot of danger here in this area, and we can use that to take some profit on shorts, and that means to exit your positions. So don't be surprised if we get a nice juicy bounce out of that pocket when that short remains. So those of you guys who are looking for something you might want to do, this is a crypto that's underperforming the market. This is something that I'm doing. It caught my interest, so I've written this one down to take these positions. So the number is 86. You guys can draw a flat line right about that 85, 86 line, and then you can also set an alert for yourself, so when price touches it, you can be ready to go and safer. If health comes into APT, we're going to be looking for on top of the parabolic, and that's going to continue sliding down in those times. But that's just a quick update on APT. Okay. Yeah, the recording's working. Yeah, but it wasn't the other day. I'm sorry, it wasn't. All right, let's go back to our images. Okay, so that's APT, what I believe is going to be happening with APT. We're looking at H-bar. I'm not shorting H-bar yet. I really want to wait till H-bar is in this position, somewhere below 0.089. Can't wait to short H-bar. I think it's going to be a nice long run. I'm watching on a 12-hour chart to 0.0418. I got a lot of reasons on why I believe H-bar should be coming down. It's going to be one I'm really keeping my eye on. I'm watching H-bar really, really closely. I want to see that happen. Here's a look at H-bar today as of Saturday. Okay, I'm looking at on Binance, and the number that I want to get below is this one right here, again 80.089. So watch for that one. If we get below that, it may trigger a short. Okay, foundational areas are still holding nicely, and the larger foundational area is still holding nicely, which is going to be somewhere up, somewhere below this green line right about here. Okay, so I'm looking to take those shorts. All right. Since I'm going to be doing a question and answer session in the second half, as I'm letting you guys know, please, if you've got specific crypto related questions or other questions in those worlds, please go ahead and think about them, write them down, put them in the chat, because I'm going to be answering some very complicated and questions in today's session. So you're going to be surprised at some of the questions that we will get. Okay. All right, back to our just a recap. So next we're going to be looking at DOT. DOT's another crypto that's had its weaknesses, and we're waiting. Now I believe that we're going to be going down a little bit further. Price did not pull back to 250, but nevertheless showed weakness. January 18th, resuming the short position. Price hit support February 4th in the phantom area, 125. Strategy: look for high volume up bars with moves into weakness for further shorts. Pay attention to USDT.D also as major stopping volume and continuing markers. I should say markers, not Marcus. All right, so we're looking for up moves that we can hunt, smaller up moves that we can hunt. You can use the 12-hour and the daily chart for DOT, but ultimately I believe that this is a bit of a support here. I think we're going to have a move down here. I think there's better options than DOT at the moment, but this is one underneath 67 cents. I'm going to be looking. If I'm under here, getting under here, especially if it's later in the year, I definitely want to be taking a long short from 67 down to 22 cents. And you guys are going to be surprised because I'm going to show you guys some interesting charts in just a minute after this recap of some things that we've covered that you're going to see. So again, this is another look at the USDT.D. That was from Wednesday's session. The 8.169 was our next EV Phantom. And that's when we broke out of here. The last event that happened, it happens to be a flat as well, just like the end cut. So it's placed here at 8.169. Now take a look at today. So this was Wednesday. So take a look at today. We're going to type in USDT.D in the search bar, USDT.D. And as I type it in, you can see we rejected just nicely right at the Phantom, the EV Phantom. Let me change the color so you guys can see it. There's the color. right there again. So right, exactly. Remember, when you get those little healths, you always got to track what was the last event that happened. These are the last smaller energy centers, here and here. It is a flat, so we place the flat at the highest energy center in between, and it becomes here. Now, today's not a tutorial. That's primarily reserved for Wednesdays. I'm just letting you guys know that this is where we're at today. So if you're looking for the up move to resume, we're going to need to clear the next health, and we'll just use the smaller local health from last time. We'll just borrow that one, and we're going to place it here. Remember, overall, there's some strong resistance from the DP that's along this line. That's part of what I highlighted weeks ago. I was showing you guys this big resistance along that way. That's part of this larger oscillation, and I'll pull up on a weekly chart so you guys can see. Okay, it's part of this. Okay, this curvature in pink is capturing a lot of these tops. The bottom, we place it here. We duplicate the distance between those areas and place it up in the sky. It's going to give us a curvature, and where that curvature is where we're going to find this resistance. Now, you already seen that weeks ago. We had a few of this rejection in this area. I don't believe we're done with this area, but this is where we should see some of that rejection, meaning it's going to start stopping us and slowing us down. Is it enough to change the game? Are we going to rotate all the way back here into the weakness? This is where I want to start being bullish the market. When this goes down, cryptos go up. This is when I want to start being a little bit bullish the market. But even then, I'm going to be watching a lot, because a lot of the game has already changed for us, as we've talked about from our previous reports. So as I let you guys know, I really believe the weather is going to be up in this direction for USDT.D. And let's get back again to our recap. Okay, so no big updates there. Anything real new? If you guys are trying to find out what's happening in the crypto market, USDT.D lets you know almost everything you need to know. TRX, we're waiting for this crypto also to come down. This is because price already phased into weakness. I don't fully expect this to round up this time, but if so, resistances are at 30 cents, 30.50 at the table. So somewhere around 30.50, somewhere up there is where I'm going to be looking for them to get to before the health really come in. But overall weakness is coming to the market, so this is good for shorting. Another weakness, we're looking for us to be breaking above these areas. This is on a weekly chart, so it's called TRX. And then here on the daily chart, you can actually see the curvature I'm looking for. When this is coming underneath here, I'm looking for TRX to fall, possibly even down to 25 cents. Current price is 27 cents. Let's take a look at it today, just to keep you updated with this one. TRX, we're looking at on Binance, and I'm going to go to that daily chart, and it looks like we're still waiting for our short. So we're waiting to get below these areas. Let's adjust it for the wick, since now we have two lines that align it. So we're going to adjust it now that we have a little bit more data in this, and then we can bring this down just a little bit to the right, and the number's still going to be just about approximate where it's been at. We'll put the price note for you guys here. What I'm looking for in our art is to build underneath this parabolic, the shape. The foundational area is going to set the tone for a lot. If we can build under here, that's when I want to start triggering my short. The first place I want to look is the flat. I want to look at the flat. I want to be getting towards this area. We may get a nice little bounce right in this area, but overall, I'm still looking to get to that 25 cents. So this is not a short I'm in at the moment, but I got my eye on it. What you can do to set yourself an alert, you can't do alerts on parabolics in TradingView at the moment. You can't do that, but you can draw a flat line or a line approximately where the alert should be. So I'm going to draw on a line somewhere here, and when price hits it, I'm going to get a notification. I'm going to draw the line. I'm going to extend it out to about March 22nd. Somewhere about right here is enough candles. And then I'm going to make this line really thin, because I'm not using it as a trend line. I'm just going to use this as an alert line. And I'm going to click on the line, and this menu is going to pop up. And I'm going to hit the alarm clock button, and then I'm going to see these tabs. I'm going to click on message and give myself a message. Look to short TRX under these areas. Now, if you're new to art, the keyword you're looking for is structure. I like to see a few candles, and I don't want to just see any close. I want to see a significant close below here. I want to see some candles somewhere underneath there. I love to see round action. I love to see pullbacks. If I'm looking on a daily chart, I want to be looking to a 12 and a 6 to see if I'm really rejecting on the underside of those areas. That's something I would like to look for. I also like to see high volume on the up bars. If I have that, then it makes me very attracted to the trade. Right now, we don't have that high volume on the up bar yet, so we may still be playing here yet. And that makes this short just a little bit dangerous at the moment. So we got to wait for the short to begin. So don't jump the gun. Don't put yourself in a bad position, especially with USDT.D. That's still very close to that danger area. It's not in these stretches where it got these long waves where it can run up. When you have those, you're really easy. The same with when it's going down. If you got these long stretches where it goes down, you can take some good bullish positions, but only when it's in those safer areas where it has room to run. Otherwise, it becomes very dangerous to try to scalp the market unless you're very, very quick. You know what you're doing. You know the larger stuff that's in play. You know what's happening with Bitcoin. You know what's happening with Total. You know what's happening with Total 3. You know what's happening in the market as a whole. You got some semblance of what's happening, so your individual crypto gets more points in its corner, so to speak, in our art. All right, finishing up with TRX, we had one more that we just needed to cover for the filming, and that's Arrow. And for Arrow, it's the same thing. A lot of these cryptos are moving up like this. We want to see high volume into those weakness areas, and then they're going to trigger some shorts. For Arrow, though, we have already a double bottom, multi-bottom. So the short for me is really going to trigger underneath 29 to 27. And I want to take the short down to 24 to 23 cents because that's where I have an end cut support at. So I think I'm going to get a nice bounce here. Once that support is broken, then I'm going to be probably looking to take a short for the big stretch of land. And you can see these are those big stretches of land where you got a lot of room to make some money. And from here, for us, it's around 24 to 23, and around support, it's about 16. Now, that's a dynamic negative number. That means over time, that number is going to go down. It may go down to 15 cents. Here all the way in May, it's around 14 cents. As the angle is going down, the number is going to be changing. And that's why we never trade based on price alone. We trade based on the angles. So I'm looking for Arrow to crack this line, start building underneath there, and then primarily 2029. I want to see high volume on those up bars to indicate selling. I still want to make sure the down move is still in play, the larger down move's playing. Here's an example of Arrow today. Let's take a look at Arrow today and see where it's at. Did it trigger its short? It shouldn't have triggered its shorts. These are all things that you guys need to be writing in your trade journals. Alerts you can set. People always wondered, Jason, what's something good I can do? What am I watching for? Well, these are the things I'm watching for. They look like these up moves within when larger weaknesses in play, and you can take multiple trades along the way. Here is a simple one for Arrow. So again, it's this one. We're watching this. Now, we can adjust this since we have now more than a bit of a day. Let's adjust it for this week to make sure it's a little bit better. You can also go to a 12-hour, but I would keep it on these 12 hours to give yourself just a little bit more candles. So you're concerned primarily at the foundation area, the first roots, how that starts, and then try to get the first move. And this is going to be where I would draw it. Now again, the real short triggers underneath this area, so don't jump the gun. But this is where I believe we're getting to down here. Okay, so with this, let's take a look. Do we have the high volume up bar? Do we have it? Well, the volume's kind of higher, but the volume's only high right here on this down move. So there's still some local buying. This is going to be part of stopping volume that's coming in. Stopping volume and then some volume here. I don't think this is enough. This is enough to get us past this local health. Let's take a look about where that is, and then we're going to need to watch for the larger health. So what's the local health? Let's talk about this just for Arrow for just a moment. So the local health is this sharper down move. This down move is being consistent of just the recent things that are in play. It's just here. But this does not encompass the larger move that is in play on the higher time frames, such as a daily chart and the larger foundational areas, which are somewhere over here. Larger than a daily would be a 3-day and maybe even a 1-week chart. You can see that on the 3-day chart that the down move is still very much in play. Have we turned bullish? No, we have not. We just only faded into a local health, and that makes shorting dangerous. We need to let this play out. Price is probably going to be able to looking at our highs. For the high for the next 3 days, it's going to be somewhere about 37 cents. Current price is 33 cents. Is that enough for me to want to take a trade to the bullish side. In a down market, no. I want to make sure I'm in healthy areas before I'm trying to take those moves. I don't want to get caught on the wrong side of the train tracks when the train comes running down the mountain. We want to make sure that we're really careful. I am going to be hunting and just waiting patiently, sitting on my hands for this type of move to happen. When that move is done hunting and I have high volume on the up bar with the spreads getting small into the weakness, that's going to be underneath here. I would love to start looking at this to come down. Since I have this large support, this is going to be probably the more safer conservative. But if it happens closer to 33 cents, I might be actually looking to take the short when we're at, near 37 cents. I may actually look to take a separate short in those areas. So if it takes another week or so, I might take a little short from here to here, but that depends on how long it's going to be. So that's how I would like to take it. If it's just now, I don't want it. It's too small. But if it's later on, I want it. You see how that works? Okay, does that make sense? So I might want to take that short, but only if it's later in the year, later in the month, and we are hitting this higher number. Don't expect all of these higher numbers to be hit, but these are the things that candle chasers chase. They'll be looking to start buying this because they're like, yes, now it's going up, and the down move is still very much in play, and that means the danger is still very much in. And one of the easiest ways that you can be more successful in a down market is simply hunting those up moves in a down trend. Let me just give you a quick example. Here's a daily chart. We did this the other day in the filming. I showed you once the larger weakness came into this crypto, for example, such as here, we knew also we had larger weakness in the background. So one of the ways we can do this is simply hunting the up move, okay, in a down trend with the weakness still in play. So the larger weakness was here. What can I do at that moment? On a daily chart, I can easily see it. Well, it's easy. On a 12-hour chart, after that day, which was in October, we knew what the 5 counselors were telling us. Bitcoin was weakness in October. We talked about that. Huge. That's when the markets were at the top. I told everybody I exited everything in the crypto market. It's public. I put it public. In October, the markets should have started crashing. And I talked to you guys about that. There's all the reports. So at this moment, if we were simulating real life, we would say, hey, well, the markets are really weak. USDT.D should be moving up. Bitcoin should be moving down. Total and Total 3 were showing weaknesses from October to December. Everything was telling us this was the top of the market. And like as you guys know from my reports and from our conference, we went over some of that data very, very, very carefully from the mini conference. So a way we could have done this is after these areas, we just simply hunt the correct move, which is the down move. So we're waiting for the down move, and we're riding the down move by hunting the smaller up moves. These are the weak gazelle. We're like the hungry bear and the fish that are swimming the wrong way. This up move is the wrong way. We already know the larger weakness is in play. We already know what the market was doing. So if we were to simply go to those time frames and hunt those up moves, it would look something like this. Here's the up move. There's the weakness. We can take a short approximately here and start shorting on the way down. Here's another up move. We can start shorting approximately here, and that would be another short. Here's another up move. Here's a curve one that's similar to what's happening right now in the market. And there's the down, and there's the weakness, and then down we go again. And here's another one. A smaller one. I don't know if I would have taken that one, I told you guys, but I would have probably taken that one or at the flat, and we can train it down to the larger support. Once we're at the supports, we exit what is appropriate. Here's another weakness showing up. This one yields very little profit, but we don't lose anything. Price comes back up to the major resistances, and the weakness continues again here. And then we can take the short and continue. Here's again where the support is. Things get dangerous, so we exit the market again. And then here's where the next weakness. Once we start building underneath where the support is supposed to be, we're underneath the support now. That's when the shorts can resume, and we can take it to the next targets, and we can exit appropriately. So this is again what I'm watching. In a larger down move, we're looking for these up moves. We're hunting them, and we're trying to maximize our profit. If it happens again for Arrow later in the month, I'm looking to take this smaller short on Arrow, and primarily again underneath 29 27 to take the short down to the end cut at 24 to 23. There's a little bit of money in between. And then if all that happens and we get another weakness, the larger weaknesses are in play, eventually we probably want to see if we can ride this all the way down to our final support closer to 16 cents. Now I put a little X here because I expect a strong support there. That doesn't mean I want to buy it here, but it does mean I want out because there's too much danger. If the weaknesses continue underneath there, then we have to find another bottom and probably going to be closer to 10 or 9 cents. All right, with that said, I want to show you guys some other things that we found and some other images that I've been looking at just today or yesterday. The short that I'm in right now is Toshi. I'm in a Toshi trade because I like the position of Toshi. Oh, here's some more. Here's some more for you guys. Gala, watching Gala. I want to get Gala underneath 00338. That's a chart from Gala on Wednesday. Toshi, this is Toshi. I love where Toshi's at right now. I believe we're going to be hitting the JSON target 00012, 00093. So we actually gain a 0 in this area here. I believe Toshi's going to be coming down. This is on Polynex chart, but even the other Toshi's charts are showing we're about the same area. So I'm looking for Toshi to come down here. Here's a look at Toshi right now so you guys can see what I'm in. I like where we're at in the area. I believe it's a weak area for Toshi. Again, we're still here. I think we're going to be getting here to that area. So this is going to be something I'm looking for right now. I'm looking to get to that target. I believe we lost a very large weakness here in December, and we lost another strong weakness this month in February. So building underneath these areas that we've been expecting for just a long time, it's fantastic. It's telling us everything we need to know. Now, Toshi, remember, has a larger long-term story. You guys can read more about the story in my report, and that report is available on Wednesday, the full report from January 31st, and February 18th, where we talk about this short and I'm in this short for Toshi. I believe it's going to be coming down. Okay. Now, let me show you a few more that were not recorded. Here's a look at Shiba. I believe Shiba, this is another just quick look at Shiba where I was showing you, this is not my official chart for Shiba, but I was just showing people the down move. And then I got to show people this one from, oh yeah, here's a different Toshi chart from yesterday and show you guys, you can see the up move. This one's easy to see, but look at the ultra high volume on the up bar. If we move into this weakness, this is Toshi on Coinbase, the price 0002. This is an easy short. This is a very, very easy short if we get it. If we get the next weakness, that's just a very easy one. Okay, there is a smaller end cut that's somewhere about right here. I didn't give you guys the exact number for it, but it's somewhere around 00019. Okay, so you guys can draw a flat line somewhere around 00019. So somewhere below that, I think we're going to get a nice little bounce if we phase over here in the next day or two, and then we're going to come down. But this high volume on the up bar that closes near the low, and if we phase into weakness, is a very easy tell that that's not good for Toshi. So let's type in Toshi and we're going to look at on Coinbase. Not that one. Toshi on USDT on Coinbase. Oh, USD, sorry. Yeah, there we go. And so you can see that here it is. If we phase into this weakness with this high volume on the up bar, look at it, it's right there closing near the low. This is going to be a very, very easy short. I'm going to be very excited to take this short, and the nearest support that we're going to be looking at for this Toshi trade is approximately here, 00015. So that's going to be where we're actually looking to get to if this short triggers. It's not saying that this part of the short will trigger. It's just something that you guys need to be aware of if you guys are trying to short on Toshi, and that's what I would be probably looking at, a 12-hour chart on there. If I get below there, there's probably going to be another weakness that's going to trigger. So we'd be looking for a weakness to be underneath that area. If price is building, then I'm going to be looking to come down even more so towards that other target on our other charts. So this is where you'd want to combine the two. Okay, so that's Toshi on Coinbase. Okay, Toshi to Coinbase. All right, there was something else I wanted to show you guys that I had. Bitcoin. This is a look at Bitcoin from last night. I was looking at Bitcoin last night, and this is what I see right now. This is our top angle. This is going to be there. This is going to be our phantom. We're actually underneath this phantom with the strong close with high volume on the up bar, but we're not going into the health, are we? We're not really have anything to show for it. I believe that we're actually going to be part of a larger DPs, which means we're going to need to DP the distance between this area, duplicate it to the downside. It's going to get us somewhere to the low side of 50 to 40,000. So this is again that number that I have for you based on our target system. We've had this number for months, 50,000 to 47,000. People call this crazy, but it is there. This is the support. This was the big weaknesses that happened back in October. This is the next weakness. And this is another weakness that happened before the big crash. This was the easy because we were rounding on the underside of that weakness that was already established. It was so easy to see, hey, weakness is what I screamed in the video publicly. I said, I even went like this, weakness. I don't know if Melody included it, but I filmed it. And I told people I would see to let you know when the big Bitcoin crashes were supposed to happen. And this is part of that crash. Now we are coming up to some support, somewhere around 58,000. I don't believe that this support is going to be the thing that launches, Bitcoin to new heights. I think we may have a small bounce here. I think overall we're going to end up losing the support, and then we're going to hit our 50,000. That's what I think. I think we're going to phase into this weakness if we don't already do so relatively soon, and that's Bitcoin. Okay, so that's a lot to kind of understand what is happening with Bitcoin. But right now, we're still playing exactly where we should. So 66,000 is going to be about the next weakness that should start the shorts again. So when Bitcoin's underneath 66, that's when I'm going to start shorting again. I got a JSON target here, and then I got one here. I didn't put the target in with a number because we're not in that short just yet. So I got to wait for that short to be hit. The shorting number range is going to be somewhere around 62,000 to conservative side. So if you guys are looking for a short underneath 66 to 62,584, conservatively, it's going to be something where I'm going to be looking at. So that's that one. Now I only got one more for you. Only one more that I wanted to show you guys. And where is it? Oh, yes. I didn't take a picture of it. RYS. This one's called Iris. Okay, we're going to talk. I'm going to first pull up my image. And this is something I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show my previous image because I want you to learn this. Okay, it's called Iris. And first, let me pull up my image of when I first took it. So I got to type it in. IRYS. Yep, here it is. And the date was February 11th. Okay, so I'm going to go to February 11th and show you what we were looking at right before I went on vacation. Here it is. All right, here's a look at a crypto. So take a moment. Okay, we're going to be looking at this one called Iris. Okay. Of this crypto, we identified strong professional selling. At the moment, it was unconfirmed. It becomes confirmed when weakness appears. Now, we already are tracking that upward trajectory with weakness in the background. When we see high volume, very strong volume like this one right there, on the up bar, on the up move, but the move doesn't have anything to show for it. If it's really buying, why are we phasing into weakness? Now, we're not in the weakness just yet. We're waiting at the time. We also saw very strong volume, but look at all the candles closing near the low. Okay, on very strong volume, on the up move, this is an easy trade. This is very, very easy stuff. Pay attention, everybody. Watch out for just a second. Come on, give me 10 minutes or 5 more minutes. Okay, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is Iris showing very, very strong examples of weaknesses in real time. And we watch these because you can see it folding. Now, you can't take any action at this moment. You got to wait for the weakness to appear. Once we move below those areas with high volume in the background at resistance areas, you're looking for the crypto to fall. Okay, if you see that, you need to take big note. Be careful. There's a lot of danger in the market. If you're a shorter, you're probably going to make a lot of money, doing those kinds of trades. So this was Iris on Coinbase. IRYS. This is Iris today. Okay. Price gave us a good amount of time to take action. This is a significant close. This is where, at this approximate date, which was February 12th, right when I was on vacation, this would be a signal to let us know, yes, we moved into the weakness. Right there. This is where price moved into weakness, and the previous unconfirmed weakness, unconfirmed selling becomes confirmed. Okay, this is how that works. Right there. So this is where we change it, and you can delete the unconfirmed. Now I do that for some of the charts. I'll say, hey, this is unconfirmed, but it's up to you. If you're watching it or if you're doing that chart, that's where you're going to be doing this. This was February 12th. February 12th, 2026. Okay. So again, this is a previous example of this. This is previous on February 11th. Previous. We got to write that down. Not January 9th. Okay. Today. All right. Now, we only had sword cut at the time as the support. When that support price came and lost that support, the next day, there's a more weakness that enters the market. Where are we going? Well, the next one after this is going to be probably the flat. I didn't do a full chart on this one, but we were very high in the sky. But there's our flat. Here's our multi-touch flat. 1, 2, and we're there. So if you're trying to short this right now, it's more dangerous to short at the moment. The next best place to short this crypto is going to be here. Now, this takes discipline and patience. Okay? It takes discipline and patience to sit on your hands until things are confirmed. But your job is not to be risky or a gambler. Your job is not to have to prove yourself right and say, oh, look at you, you predicted everything. You don't have to predict nothing in the market. I'll say that again. You don't have to predict nothing in the market. All you need to do is you need to be able to read what's happening as it's happening. Okay? That's what you need to be able to do. Okay? If you understand there's a danger here, don't short this right now. We're already here at the support, so there's a danger. What if we bounce? Okay? You can wait until the next weaknesses and then have reasons why you'd want to short. We definitely had reasons why we'd want to short it somewhere here. Fantastic reasons on why we'd want to short it there. But right now, not so much. Okay? This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. So I hope this has blessed you, because we're about to jump into a Q&A session. Again, I'm not doing standard requests today. I do apologize. Okay.